Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Naomi and today I have this New Year's Eve makeup look. I am really excited that it turned out so good. I usually don't do anything crazy with my eyes, so this was super experimental. Before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy this video and follow me on Instagram if you want to. And without further ado, let's get into the video. So I just moisturized my lips with this Carmex lip balm. I've used a lot of different lip balms and this is definitely my favorite one and it's super cheap as well. Okay, so I cleaned and moisturized my face with Cetaphil face wash and my CeraVe moisturizer. So the first thing I'm gonna do is go in with my foundation. This is the Fit Me Dewy formula in the shade 330 Toffee. And I'm gonna take that on a little flat brush just for application. I'm just gonna put that all over my face. Really rough. And then I'm gonna blend that in with my Tarte foundation brush. And then I'm gonna go in with my concealer. I'm using the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in the shade Chestnut. Just gonna make like a triangle under my eyes. So I did a pretty wide area with the Chestnut concealer, and I'm also gonna go in with a slightly lighter concealer, same concealer, NARS Radiant Creamy in the shade Caramel, which is just one shade lighter. And I'm gonna do like a smaller area with that and just go over like closer to my eye. And then I'm just gonna put a little bit of concealer around my mouth because that's usually where I get a little bit of darkness. I forgot to take the slightly darkened concealer, Chestnut. I usually bring it like up to my nose, just stopping where I'm gonna do contour later on. So I'm just gonna let my concealer sit for a little bit. I usually let it sit for like 5 minutes or so. And again, I say this in all my videos, but it helps a lot with the opacity. And while I wait, I usually wash my blending sponge that I usually use. I use these little blending sponges that I got from Quo. It's really dirty right now. Yeah, I'm gonna go wash this. And by the time that I'm done washing it, my concealer should have set and dried down enough. So I'll be right back. Okay, so my sponge is washed and my concealer is pretty dry, but first, before I blend it out with the sponge, I'm gonna use this Pat McGrath concealer brush and just do the edges a little bit, just to control more where the concealer ends, because I noticed that when I used to just go in with the sponge, even though it's a mini sponge, I just don't have as much control over where my concealer ends, so. And then I start with blending out around my mouth. And since I clean my blending sponge basically every time before I use it, it's not packed with product, it's like completely empty. So I feel like when you use it for the first time after you've cleaned it, it picks up product a lot more, like it sucks in more product. So that's why I like to start with blending out around my mouth, because I don't need as much coverage here around my mouth as I need around my eyes. So you can see that it's like kind of saturated with product there. And then when I go in to my under eyes, it just doesn't pick up as much of the concealer. And more of it just like stays put around my eyes. And before I actually get started on blending out my under eyes, I always get my setting powder ready because I have a lot of lines under my eyes. I don't know if you can see. And product, when it's still wet and it's not set yet with like a setting powder, it can, it really quickly falls into those lines and starts cracking at the lines. This is the Hourglass Veil Translucent Setting Powder. So once I start blending out my under eyes, it'll just be there and I can immediately start setting my under eyes. So I just work from the outside and work my way more and more inwards. Then I take some of that setting powder on my blending sponge, and then I immediately set my under eye concealer. And I like squint while I do it, so it straightens out all those creases and I can really get into the lines and get the setting powder where it needs to go. And then I'll move on to setting the rest of my face with the same setting powder. So I really press the powder into my skin, and that helps a lot with making it look a little bit more natural and also the longevity of my makeup. Okay, so that's good for setting powder. I'm just gonna wipe away the excess with this fluffy brush. Okay, so now I'm gonna do my bronzer. And let's see. Where's my bronzer? I'm using my BH Cosmetics Brilliance Bronzer in the shade Cocoa Cutie. And I'm just taking that on angled brush and starting. I like to start really high, like up here. So I like really work it into my hairline and feather it out. And then I'm just gonna, with a little bit of leftover powder that's already on my brush, I'm gonna do like the tips of my nose, and I just do it like kind of all over the tip of my nose and like go up the bridge a little bit, like really lightly. And then I'm gonna take some of that bronzer on this little dome-shaped, kind of like tightly packed brush. So next I'm moving on to blush, and today I am using the BH Cosmetics Floral Blush in the shade Honolulu Hideaway. I recently started watching Alexandra Anelli's channel, and she's really great. I'm really loving her channel. I feel like watching her has been really refreshing and has kind of revamped my interest in makeup again. But yeah, Alexandra does the whole blush on her cheekbones rather than like apples of her cheeks, so I'm trying that out. I also like to put a little bit of blush on my nose just to tie all the colors together on my face. I'm using the BH Cosmetics Desert Oasis palette, and I'm gonna take this color right here, Utopia, on a little fluffy brush, and I'm gonna mix it with, I think, Mirage, so this shade right here. Because Mirage is a little too light for my skin tone, and then Utopia is like exactly my skin tone, so. And then I'm just gonna really lightly go on my cheekbones. Okay, I think that looks nice. And then with the leftovers on my brush, I'm just gonna go really lightly on my nose. So now I'm gonna start on my eyes, which I'm pretty excited about because I got some new glitter products. But first, I'm gonna do a base on my lids. And I'm gonna go into the Modern Renaissance palette. It's so dirty. I don't know how to keep this like suede material clean because it sits with like the rest of my makeup and it just gets other products all over it. So I'm gonna go in with a fluffy eyeshadow brush with this color right here, Raw Sienna, and put like a wash of color all over my lid. So I'm just gonna take that color because I want it to look kind of like a cat eye. I'm gonna take the color out and like try to touch it to my brow, the tip of my brow. So the new glitter products that I'm excited to use today are these Rimmel 2-in-1 liner to shadow, and it just looks like a liner that's like kind of thick. Let's see, it's gonna focus. So it's kind of thick and liquidy, and basically like you put it on like eyeliner and you kind of blend it out and it turns into like glitter eyeshadow. So let's see. I've never used this before, so hopefully it works out. So it's super pigmented, which is really nice. And I'm gonna blend it out with my finger. So now I'm gonna take some of this darker brown color. This is Cypress Umber from the Modern Renaissance palette. on the compact brush that I was using for my contour on my nose. And I just want to define that like cat eye shape a little more. So I'm gonna go in like this and bring it up. And then I'm gonna take the fluffy brush and soften out the edges. And now I'm going to take a damp compact eyeshadow brush and go into this reddish, like pinkish glitter color right here. I don't know why there's a huge scratch in it. I'm gonna go in on top of that glitter. So I'm gonna go into Dune on the BH Cosmetics Desert Oasis palette. I'm gonna go into Dune, and I'm gonna take a little bit of Sandstone as well, which is, these are both matte colors. And then I just wanna make that darker bit of eyeshadow lean a little bit more red. Okay, so I think I'm happy with that, so I'm gonna do the exact same thing to the other eye. Okay, so that's my eyeshadow all done, and before I move on to doing eyeliner and all of that, I'm gonna do my setting spray. This is the NYX Dewy Finish setting spray. Now I'm gonna do my eyeliner, and I think I'm gonna do like a smoky eye look. I'm gonna start with some brown liner. This is the CoverGirl liquid liner in Smoked Amber. Do like a wing. And then I'm gonna go over that with a black liquid liner. This is the NYX That's the Point liquid liner pen. And I'm gonna do like a smaller wing at the base of that liner. So now I'm gonna take some of that dark brown color again that I used for my crease from the Modern Renaissance palette. I'm just taking that on a angled liner brush, and I just wanna smoke out my liner again. Okay, so that's the other eye done. I'm gonna do my bottom liner. So I'm gonna take this slightly larger angled brush and go into that same brown color from the Modern Renaissance palette. And I'm just gonna do my bottom lash line. And I'm gonna feather it out a little bit. I'm gonna take this color right here that we used to highlight with. Utopia from the BH Cosmetics palette, and I'm going to do my inner corner highlight with that, and I'm going to take it in to my bottom lash line and connect it to my eyeliner. So I'm just going to curl my lashes and put some falsies on, but that's pretty straightforward, so I'm just going to do that off camera and I'll be back. Okay, so my lashes are on. What I did was I used these lashes right here. These are the Kiss Looks So Natural lashes. What I did was I took a strip and I cut it like half the width of my eye, and then just put the lash at the end half, or the outer half of my eye, just to make it more of a cat eye look. So I'm just gonna take all of the excess makeup that accidentally got on my eyebrows. This is the NYX micro brow pencil that I'm using. I'm just trying to fill in all the little gaps. And then I'm gonna set my brow with the 24-Hour Brow Setter by Benefit. And then I'm gonna go in with the MAC Shape and Shade Brow Tint. And then just do the end half of my brow. And then I'm gonna do the exact same thing to the other brow. Okay, so my eyebrows are done, and I have one last thing to do, which is lips. And I'm gonna start with a lip liner. This is the NYX Matte Lip Liner in the shade Soft Spoken. And I'm just gonna overline my lips slightly. I love that color, it's so pretty. Now I'm gonna go in with a liquid lipstick. This is the NYX liquid lipstick in the shade Cabaret Show. So my camera battery died, I didn't realize it, but all I did was, I didn't really like how cool toned that lip color was, so I just went over it with this Maybelline Color Sensational lip liner in the shade Raw Chocolate. It's kind of a lot more reddish toned, and then I put a little bit of the Fenty Gloss Bomb on top. And that is the finished look. So I think I'm actually gonna wear this on New Year's. I'm actually a huge fan of how it turned out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you have any suggestions for videos that you guys wanna see in the future, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys. Momo, I have a question for you. Did you like my makeup?
Fuck no, baby.
Okay, thanks for your input, Momo.